Whatnauts Reactor Core number 111. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing okay. Drank a lot of espresso today. I hope I don't crash midway through this conversation.
Beep, boo, battery died.
I crawl under my desk. I try and finish the podcast from there. It's nap time.
Sounds good. Well, we are here to talk about John Wick Chapter 4. We have been anticipating this one for quite a while. Melissa, you and I do another podcast, the review show, the Whatnauts review show. And at the start of this year, we watched all the John Wick movies in anticipation for this, today, right here, right now.
So we've been anticipating this for 2.5 months.
Long
when
time.
You and I watched the third movie and said, oh boy, can't wait for that fourth one.
Exactly.
Good for us. Not a long wait. Just March.
Yeah. I'm waiting for a text from my mom in like an hour from now to see how they liked it. Or how they liked the first one. They watched the first one literally today. Because my mom was like, would I like John Wick? And I was like, I don't know, but my dad would. Absolutely.
Great for dads.
Yeah. And I was like, Mom, if nothing else, they're pretty to look at. So
they are.
Like you'll have fun just watching it. But John Wick 4. So I went to go see this the Thursday that it came out. And I am going to go see it again this Friday in 4DX, which is going to be super fun.
There's one sequence in particular I am very excited for you to ride, for the chair to jostle you in the way that mimics that scene.
Yeah, I think I know which one it is, and I'm interested to see what they do. But yeah, John Wick Chapter 4. Melissa, you also saw it this weekend. What did you think? What's your thoughts?
I had a great time. This is a long one. This is like 2 hours and 50 minutes. I stayed all the way to the very final image on the screen, which is the in memoriam card for Lance Reddick. I think he died so close to the release of the movie that might have been the only place they could put it, is at the very end, like after the Lionsgate logo and the R rating cards appear again. Then is when they think everybody's good friend and angel Lance Reddick. So I was there the whole time. Didn't know there was a post-credit scene. It was good that I decided to stay for that, and I caught that post-credit scene.
I did not stay for the post-credit scene, but I knew there was one shortly afterwards. I was like, you know what? I didn't look. And so I looked it up, and I was like, there was something. Yeah, it's at the very, very end. It's not the, like, mid-credits scene. It's at the very end. But we'll get into that in just a bit here. But yeah, I loved it. I had a great time. I think if you're a fan of the first three, you kind of already know what to expect. And at the same time, it doesn't disappoint just because it's more of the same. It's so much fun. It's so good. It is gorgeous to look at and watch.
Yes. These movies are beautiful. There's incredible shots in this movie. What it does with the camera, there's deep shots, there's long shots, there's wide shots. It plays around with space so much. There's like a scene where John Wick has to climb a very, very, very long staircase, and you can see the guys waiting for him at the very top of the staircase. The focus is that deep. I love it.
Yep, indeed. I also found this one to be funnier than the other three. Not that I would describe this as a comedy, but there were a couple jokes, just a couple line deliveries that I thought was like, that was good. Like it got a chuckle out of me. And then there were a few things that I found funny. I don't think they were supposed to be, but it was just kind of ridiculous. And both me and my partner walked out and was like, what about those one scenes where, like, when this happened and then this other thing happened?
Yeah.
And we were just like, this is ridiculous. It was so funny.
Yeah, I get what you're talking about. There is a scene where the antagonist, I looked at him real closely because I'm like, this might be a comedian under a lot of prosthetics. That might be like Sacha Baron Cohen under there. This feels like a gag.
It wasn't even that, to be honest. Anyways, we had a blast with this. It's a great time. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But yeah, let's dive into spoilers. Bam. Spoilers. All right, so now that we are in full spoiler territory, I have to say what these funny moments are.
Yes,
because I don't think they're supposed to be funny, but I was laughing at them nonetheless. There is a scene. It's very close to what you were almost alluding to. John Wick needs to go get back in with this family that he got excommunicated from, and he works out a deal with them to go like, hey, if you kill this one person, then we'll be good. But they kind of set it up so that John Wick would be killed. It leads to this big, long fight scene in a club.
Yeah.
Stuff that we've already seen in John Wick before. The people in this club don't react at all to anything. Guys getting shot in the face 2 feet away, axed in the head 2 feet away. They just don't care. They are dancing and swinging, and it's not like their eyes are shut and they don't know. Like, they're looking at this and they're still just like,
you've heard of silent discos. These are sightless discos. You will dance blindfolded.
They just dance nonstop, and it's not till the end of the fight, after like 20-30 people have been murdered, like all in like super violent ways, that John Wick pulls this guy's tooth out, and that's what makes people run. They're like, oh no, like, we were fine with axe murdering and gun violence, but when you pull a tooth out, that's you cross the line.
Well, I gotta say, it is a mobile fight. So they're going all throughout that club. So the people who see him pull the guy's tooth out are different people than, the people who saw like the axe getting thrown or whatever.
But it's just no one starts to scream and run out until the end.
It's funny how long it takes.
It's ridiculous. And it's like, and it's on multiple levels of this club, so everyone sees.
It's wet. It's wet in there. It's raining inside.
Melissa, this one will be on your wettest movies of 2023.
Pretty wet.
Some point. Yeah.
My favorite part of this, the antagonist, I don't remember the guy's name. I've never seen a fat guy do a spin kick before, and I felt really empowered. I really liked getting to see different body sizes fighting.
He looked like one of those like NFL linemen that are like, they're ginormous in real life, and you don't expect them to be able to be as limber as they are. But man, once they move, they are full steam ahead. Like, he was doing spin kicks and all sorts of stuff. It was just like, whoa.
That guy was so much. He's big enough that I'm like, is this part of the character? Are they like, well, John Wick has never fought a Zoftig fellow before. We're going to have him fight a rotund man. It's like, I don't know if that's part of it or not, but he's also wearing this purple suit. He's got several gold teeth right in the middle of his mouth, right there. Yeah. And he's doing like all these intense card tricks. Like, it's just a lot of things happening at once. This movie kind of felt like a grab bag, or like, well, let's do everything we've said we've wanted to do. This is our last movie. Let's fit it in. which is not a complaint. It kind of jumps around here and there. This whole fight with the guy in the purple suit is sort of a fetch quest sort of thing, but
kind of, yeah.
The action set pieces are so fun that I truly don't mind how much this plot jumps around.
Yeah, there are some ridiculous things in this. As this was not this second scene that I found really funny, but just the idea now everyone has those like bullet-proof suits that they're all just sitting there like like ducking behind their suit all the time, and it's just like that's not how this works. Like whatever. But the second scene that I thought was hilarious was one you already mentioned, the stairs.
This is what I wanted. You have to tell me how 40X encapsulates this.
I want to know.
He fights his way up like 220 stairs. It's such a long, intense fight scene. And then as soon as he gets to the top,
limit.
Yes. Yeah. He has to get up those stairs in like less than 10 minutes or else he's dead. Like, you know, his friends are dead. So as soon as he fights his way up those stairs, he gets kicked down and he rolls and rolls like a slinky to the bottom. And then he has to do it again.
And it's not like he like rolls down some of the steps and slides down like 1.5 or 2 flights of stairs. No, this scene goes on. And then it goes on. And then it goes on. And it's just like rolling. And it's just like, what is happening? It keeps going.
That's the kind of escalation I love. Like they're thinking about what are all these set pieces, where are all these places and styles of fighting John Wick can do. We've seen hallway fights. Now they're giving us a really good staircase fight, and they pick the best possible escalation to a staircase fight, which is what if you fall down the stairs and you gotta climb them again?
Yeah. But yeah, those 2 scenes specifically, I thought I was laughing at just like, this is so ridiculous, this is so stupid, but I loved it. I think also there's a great line delivery by Ian McShane's character.
All of them
after he's a fantastic actor. Duh. But when they get up there and they finally do this end duel at the end of the movie, I forget what John Wick says, or he's like, hey, do you have any advice or something? And Ian McShane says, just have fun out there. It's like he's speaking to his child at like the halftime of some soccer game. Just have fun out there, kiddo.
If you come back alive, I'll take you to Pizza Hut.
Right.
Any 3 toppings, like, Jonathan.
Those were the funniest moments in the entirety of the movie, and I was just like, yeah, great stuff. But besides all of that, I think there are some great, like, more dramatic, serious moments. I think the most recent stuff, of course, is Lance Reddick passing away. I thought this was actually a great send-off for him. Very touching. That's the thing. Like it feels like this is a movie that they had to do reshoots for when it's not.
Like, yeah, because he only died a week ago. I think he died after the movie premiered and before it hit like major theaters.
Yeah, and just the way, so in the movie, pretty early on, Lance Reddick's character Karen dies. He gets shot. He gets killed. It's abrupt, which unfortunately is Lance Reddick passing was abrupt, and his character is still mentioned, still talked about. Just the emotional weight of like, this wasn't just some side character. He was like he meant a lot to the establishment, to the Continental
Mm-hmm.
there, and there is a particular scene where they were discussing headstones of like,
Yeah.
well, what did you end up getting his headstone to say? And Ian McShane's character, Winston, says a friend, and it was just like,
Yeah.
oh, my heart.
I know.
Like,
I was. It was very teary every time he was on screen. I'd like reach my arms up in
Yeah.
praise.
Yeah. Great handoff to his character.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
rest in
it's
peace.
very, very fateful that they spend so much time in the movie eulogizing that character, and it becomes sort of tragically, but also sort of beautifully metaphorical.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I wanted to talk briefly about I don't remember the dude's name. The actor is the big black guy. I only know him as Big Man because he is Big Man in Sweet Tooth. It's strange that we've now seen 2 movies with the main actors of Sweet Tooth. This and Cocaine Bear have that young kid. He felt like a really odd character to me. I liked him, but
Mm.
this felt like a movie where they maybe tried out 3 or 4 different endings and they weren't sure which one they were gonna go with. And I think the one they ended up going with, it just felt like his character was almost kind of useless.
He served a purpose. I really liked following him. I liked that his role was he's a tracker. I wish they would have called him Tracker instead of Mr. Nobody, because there's already a Mr. Nobody in the Fast and Furious franchise. It's not like
And
you
in
don't
Doom
know
Patrol,
that. Yeah,
right?
really puzzling. I like that he's an assassin, but he's not just going off after like any possible bounty. He's like, I am the one who tracks the guy who the bounty is after. I'm the one who makes sure like the people running this thing know where he is at any given time. And like if they find out he's he's eluded somebody, he's gone to a more challenging location, like they're the ones who raise the price that you get. And he's just tracking him, following him, keeping a distance, waiting for the price to go up high enough to make it worth his while.
He's also scheming to get that price up so that he can get a huge payout. Like I like the character. He's an interesting twist on characters we've already seen, and just this like blatant like I'm an assassin too. He is kind of like he's this third part of a triangle, but is not really for or against either one side.
Mm-hmm.
So he's hunting John, but he's also helping to keep John alive because he wants to be the one to kill John to get the reward money. So he's killing this other guy. I forget the guy's name. I'm terrible with names.
Who?
You guys should know all of this now. The main antagonist.
Bill Skarsgård.
Yes, yeah.
I don't remember his name either. It's some long fancy French name.
I think do they just call him the Frenchman? No, he's the
the Marquis.
Yes, the Marquis. I was about to say it's his position.
Yeah, like right. Everybody's got a title we can refer to them as.
He's also killing the Marquis' men to keep John alive. But at the end, like by the end of the movie, the only thing that really happens with him is that John saves his dog, which there is some some wraparound with that. But here's why I felt like he was a character where they maybe tried a couple different endings. I was wondering if he was gonna get killed and John would get that dog instead and have to like look after him there.
He still has the dog from before. Lawrence Fishburne is watching that dog.
But still, like it felt like, I don't know, like all of that to just have him just be like, hey, thanks for saving my dog, and that was it. It's just like,
There's another moment where he could have died, and John saves him. And he's sort of taken aback that he has very publicly been like waiting for the right time to kill John Wick. He doesn't have any personal animosity against John Wick. It's purely like about the money for him. He's like, you are the most wanted guy. You are the most efficient single hit I can make for my bank account.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and in that moment, he then shoots the one dude who's about to shoot the dog, and so there is this like understanding between them, just being like, I owe you one, right? Like, you do your thing. I like the character. He just, at the end of the day, felt like it was like a C or D plot that almost didn't need to be there.
It could have had one more beat to it. When John saves his life, when John easily could have like let this man die or killed him because he knows he's at some point going to be an obstacle, he doesn't. And I was wondering if there was going to be some line where he asked him, dude, why'd you save my life? And John Wick says, your dog would miss you. I saved you for your dog's sake. I was expecting a line like that, but I still like felt that emotion. Like, I can imagine that might have been his motivation. Finally, another thing. That actor, that's the guy from Stowaway. Do you remember?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yes. Okay, yeah. Now it's clicking in my head here. It's just like,
I haven't seen Sweet Tooth, but this guy, incredible in the Netflix sci-fi movie Stowaway. It's a tiny little bottle drama set on a spaceship, just 4 people. He's been one of my favorite performances we've seen on the review show. And I was so happy I got to see him again on the big screen.
Yeah.
I think his name's Shamir Anderson.
Shamir Anderson, known as the Tracker. I'm questioning myself. Is this the guy from Sweet Tooth? Let me see if I can find his like Wikipedia or IMDb here. Television.
Well, you look that up. Let's see. Lawrence Fishburne doesn't do a lot in the movie, but he's excellent. He's like such a powerful presence. What?
I don't think that is him in Sweet Tooth. Oh no, I'm terrible.
I haven't seen it. Couldn't tell you who the guy in Sweet Tooth is.
You are right then, because I was like, I've seen him, and I immediately thought of Sweet Tooth, probably because we just watched Cocaine Bear not that long ago, and I was like, oh, he's a bigger guy, he's taller, he like looks like Big Man from Sweet Tooth, huh? But I guess I'm wrong. I'm terrible.
No, it's Stowaway. Can't remember Stowaway's real name, but that's him, the one who stowed away. Clancy Brown, a wonderful addition to this. He's in the beginning and then he comes back again at the end in a way I really appreciated. Excellent use of Clancy Brown. Between Clancy Brown, Lance Reddick, and God, there's a third person from Lost in this movie. I remember watching it going, yes, 3 people from Lost. And now I'm blanking out on who that third person was.
We got... Do you remember?
Oh, Hiroyuki Sanada.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so let's rewind a bit here now.
There's a lot to cover.
Because Donnie Yen is in this movie too, and he's almost just as much like the star / antagonist of this as well. He is in he is a retired assassin that is hired by the Marquis to hunt down John Wick, and at the end of this is his champion against John Wick for this like duel that they do. I love Donnie Yen. I like that he is back in a number of stuff. I loved him in Rogue One, and he plays a similar character in this, where he is blind and is still in Assassin and stuff like that. So yeah, I like his action scenes are really neat.
Oh,
Because
because you've
guns
seen
are going off everywhere, and he's still, he's just sitting there, like, has to, like, he hears certain things, and he's still just so good. He's setting up these little, like, beeping
I
devices.
loved those because
Yeah.
you've seen the blind swordsman before. You've never seen the blind gunman before. And
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
he's got these little beepers. They sound like a doorbell. There are these trackers he puts all throughout this big industrial kitchen where they're having this fight. And as soon as somebody walks past that, it dings. And so that's how he knows where to shoot at. It's such a neat sequence that feels like it could be something in real life. I wonder if that is real life technology for the visually impaired that has been repurposed for this assassin character. Really creative. And I love that him and John are old friends, and he hates that he has to kill John Wick, but it's he gave his life to the table. He gave his eyes to the table.
Yeah.
And if he goes against them, they're going to kill his daughter. So he's like, you know what I have to do? And John Wick's like, yeah, I know what you have to do. Like they're both very sad, but very empathetic about this situation.
And I think this is a movie about John Wick, I think, trying to spare people the pain that he's been through. Because that is how I read him and the tracker of like, hey, I'll save your dog so that you don't have to go through the pain that I went through of losing my dog, which almost like that is the thing that started all of this, but also saving Donnie Yen at the end of this duel and not shooting him that last time, so that the Marquis would step in and he can shoot him and all of this stuff, so that Donnie Yen's character wouldn't have to lose one of his loved ones, which also just started John on this whole path, right? Like he's in an interesting way, he's trying to make amends for all of the destruction that he has left in his wake. And I kind of like that. Like he's still out there killing people left and right, but like is still just being like, hey, if I have the chance to save you, I will.
And
I enjoyed that a lot. And then the end credits scene also has to do with Donnie Yen. Do you want to give an update on what that is?
Well, earlier in the movie, we visited the Osaka, the Osaka Continental Hotel, where Hiroyuki Sanada is the manager, and his daughter is the concierge, and his daughter is pretty gravely injured during a big fight that happens there, and he is killed. Donnie Yen kills Hiroyuki Sanada, and my roommate texted me and asked if I want anything from Taco Bell.
Important decisions.
So tempting.
Life or death.
And the post-credits scene is after he's been cleared, because this was John Wick's like terms of the duel. Like, me and my second, like, our records are cleared. We don't owe you anything. Or no. It's him and Ian McShane. Donnie Yen's free. Nobody's coming after Donnie Yen. He can go like be with his daughter again. So he's walking to bring her a bouquet of flowers, and passing by him on this busy city street is Hiroyuki Sanada's daughter. And the final thing you see is her just unsheathing a knife.
Yeah.
Cut to black.
From what I understand is now because when we first see Donnie Yen's character, he is sitting a ways away from his daughter, who's out in this public square playing the violin. And when they summon him, they mention like, hey, you got closer than you're allowed. So he's not allowed to see his daughter, but now that he's free, he is. And he went back to go see her and is about to approach her and all of that, and that's when she comes up behind him and pulls that knife. So he hasn't quite reconnected yet, which is an interesting one for sure. So yeah, I we'll hold off it for just a sec, because there's one more scene that I want to mention before we get to the future of John Wick and all of that good stuff here. There is a scene in this that I thought was fantastic. It is the like God's eye view fight scene in this. They're in this build. This is one of the most like video game scenes I've ever seen. It was great though.
It's such a board game scene when you're seeing that top level view of John Wick fighting his way through all these rooms. It looks like Clue.
Yeah.
He should have used the Clue weapons.
He has this shotgun that also like is like incendiary rounds, so it's lighting people on fire as he's shouting them. But yeah, you have this top-down view, and he's going from like room to room and back and forth and this and that, and the camera is just gliding over all of these rooms. You see the walls, the separations between them all. It's just a fun scene. And I had a blast with that. Absolutely.
I love that. I like the sequence in Paris. Well, that's also part of Paris, but like when you've got that radio DJ who's like calling out to all the assassins in the city. That was an interesting frame for that sequence of the film.
So many people getting hit by in my mind, I was like, this is Frogger. Like someone was just like, what if Frogger, but John Wick, right?
Right. I love that it's not that we've seen car and motorcycle like chases, crashes, action scenes. This is what if you have to have a hand-to-hand combat in the middle of a busy traffic circle? So you have to fight around cars.
Yeah, that was wild. That one was also a little ridiculous. But was not as funny in a weird way as John Wick just rolling down the stairs and rolling down the stairs and rolling down the stairs, stuff like that. But yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about this.
This is a quieter shot. It's not action packed, but when Ian McShane goes to visit Bill Skarsgård in his like art gallery, not clear if like this guy can just
walking shot. Great.
Yes.
Loved it.
Yes. Like they didn't need to start the shot that early, but they did. Just this long, wide Ian McShane walking past these massive paintings. It's not clear if this is another wing in this guy's estate or if this guy can pull so many strings that he's like, yes, meet me at the Louvre. I've rented out a wing of the Louvre for this meeting.
Right? I wouldn't put it past him, right? If he was just like, I need a private showing.
Yes.
And yeah. But that shot was fantastic. I was an art student, but I was not an art history major, so I'm wondering if there's any of these paintings that have some kind of symbolic or metaphorical significance to some of these characters, like they kind of mirror one another or a similar situation. Or
the only one I recognize is the one everybody recognizes, the lady with her tits out at the French Revolution.
Hell yeah, brother. But yeah, I thought that scene was fantastic. I do want to talk a little bit about the future of John Wick.
Yeah.
Because, of course, at the end of this movie, John Wick slumps over. Then the next scene that we get is his grave. And he is right next to his wife, and his headstone says a loving husband. Hers says a loving wife, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Good stuff. There's been talk of whether or not John is actually dead. Because he slumped over.
That.
But no. And then they've done like post interviews and stuff like that, where Keanu's reactions to people being like, yeah, we think John is dead. He goes, really? Cool. Which is such a Keanu thing to say.
His reaction to most questions.
Right. I think even the director has been out there, or like one of the studio heads being like, we want to make more John Wick. Like, we don't want to like let him go. So who knows? There might be a John Wick 5 down the road. I know that there are a few spin-offs in the works right now. There is, let me pull all of these up here because I
will say I did not second guess that he was really dead. I think because, I don't know if I want to spoil it here. This is only a spoilercast for John Wick Chapter 4, but there is another major action franchise that recently did end with the main character dying. Unquestionably dying. It's like, oh, they're doing that. They're doing that thing for themselves. But you're right. Yeah, that could very easily be a faked death. The final thing he says to Winston, will you bring me home? And he just says yes. So they could be bring my body home, carry me home secretly. I'll live with the Bowery King underground.
This is a very small detail. I don't think it amounts to anything, but as they're standing looking at the grave, there is a shot of the dog, and he perks up as he sees something off in the dead. But then you see them walking off immediately after that. So I was like hoping or expecting you would get one of those scenes where it's like it's looking at the graves from a distance, and you see like over the shoulder, it's like some long-haired individual. It's like, oh, that's John Wick's hair, but it's not like actually showing him, right? But that's not what we got. So I don't know. He could be dead. But we do have an upcoming movie entitled Ballerina. That is a John Wick spinoff, starring Ana de Armas, Ian McShane, and Keanu Reeves. It takes place between the events of 3 and 4, so it will happen a little bit in the past. And it says, it follows the ballerina assassin Rooney as she hunts the murderers of her family. I think that's been filming recently, if not filming now. I don't know exactly. But yeah, that seems to be pretty far along, if I'm not mistaken. And then over on Peacock, there is a prequel series called The Continental. That is supposed to be out in 2023. I think it was originally slated to be on Starz. But then Peacock is getting it. It seems like it's gonna be a 3-episode series. Each episode being one of those like hour and a half long
Sherlock
things. Yeah. But it's supposed to take place in New York in 1975, featuring a younger version of Winston and Charon, and how they got to be like in charge of the Continental. There, I think he's doing like a hostile takeover or something like that. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. I would love to see that.
Man, this series is so good at like staging fights in nightclubs. I want to see somebody fight in literal Studio 54, please.
Right. So it says a young Winston Scott, played by Colin Waddell, who is based on Ian McShane's character in the films, is dragged through 1975 New York to face a past he thought he left behind. In an attempt to seize control of the iconic hotel, which serves as the meeting point for the world's most dangerous criminals, Winston charts a deadly course through the mysterious underworld of New York City. And then it's Adeyoye, or no, God, I cannot read. Ayomide Adegogun, who will play a young Karen, Peter Green, who plays Uncle Charlie, Mel Gibson, who plays Cormac, and Ben Robson as Frankie. They list a few other people here, so I don't necessarily know who all of these characters are, but looks like it'll be an interesting one.
Yeah.
So maybe later this year we'll get the Continental. Good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, it seems like the future of John Wick is alive and well, despite us not knowing John Wick's actual fate for sure.
Yeah. I think that's a fine way to end it. He can be absolutely dead if they decide to change lanes.
I'm actually A-okay with that.
Yeah, or if in years future they're like, we've tried other things. We love John Wick. We want to do this thing again, which
give
by
Donnie
all
Yen
means
his own one.
Yeah.
Give Akira her own one. She was the daughter that went after it. Like they have such a really cool world to explore and different they can do different time periods like the Continental is. I think that would be fantastic. So
I just want to see every Continental. I love to see all of them. I just want to do like a Travel Channel show, but it's Continentals.
Oh God. But yeah, that I think is all I have to say on John Wick 4. It was a blast.
It absolutely was.
Indeed. Well, that about wraps us up. So, Melissa, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities.
There you go. You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer. And if you'd like to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at The Whatnots, we are at The Whatnots on Twitter. So please go like, share, and subscribe. That would help us out a ton. And if you are on YouTube, go watch one of our other videos right over there on that side of the screen. That would help us out a ton. This has been number 111 of the Whatnots Reactor Core. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.